6 months had passed. Lucas was now known throughout the orphanage as the angel of the homeless. The children sought him out in difficult times, and Aunt Marta consulted him whenever someone new arrived with a particular pain. But nothing prepared him for Pedro. It was a Friday afternoon when Aunt Marta called him with an expression Lucas had never seen before. It wasn't concern. It was fear. "Lucas, I need to tell you something," she said, closing the door to her office. "A boy arrived today. His name is Pedro. He's 11 years old. And, well, he's been in 3 different orphanages in the last 2 years. He was returned every time." Lucas felt his stomach clench. "Returned? What did he do?" "Nothing wrong, Lucas. It's just that. He's very difficult. Very aggressive. The other orphanages say he's aggressive with the younger children, that he steals, that he's disrespectful to the adults. A family took him for 3 months and then asked to return him. 3 months? 3 months. Pedro hasn't been able to stay anywhere longer than that yet." Lucas took a deep breath. "Where is he?" "In isolation. We don't want him to hurt anyone. He was distraught when he arrived, very angry." "Can I see him?" Aunt Marta hesitated. "Lucas, you don't need to do this. Not every boy can be saved. Sometimes the damage is too great." "Can I see him?" Lucas repeated more firmly. The isolation room was upstairs, away from the other boys. When Lucas knocked on the door, he heard a noise, as if something had been thrown against the wall. "Come in, you idiot," shouted a voice from inside. Lucas opened the door slowly. Pedro was standing near the bed, his fists clenched. He had disheveled brown hair, torn clothes, and a wild look, like that of a cornered animal. "Who are you?" Pedro asked aggressively. "My name is Lucas. I live here." "Oh, you're the angel everyone's talking about. The boy who helps little ones find families." How disgusting. Lucas didn't retaliate. He just closed the door behind him and leaned against it, keeping a safe distance. "You're angry," Lucas said. "Of course I'm angry. Wouldn't you be?" "Yes," Lucas replied. "I would be. I already have been." Pedro analyzed him for a moment, as if trying to decide if Lucas was a threat or an ally. "That woman, Aunt Marta, she said you've been to several places," Lucas continued. "Yes," Pedro growled, "and none of them wanted me, because apparently I'm a troublemaker. A problematic boy. Or maybe," Lucas said slowly, "you were a wounded child that nobody knew how to help." Pedro took a step forward, menacingly. For a moment, Lucas thought he was going to attack him. But then, suddenly, Pedro let himself fall onto the bed, as if all the anger had simply vanished, leaving only exhaustion. "I had a mother once," Pedro said softly. "A real mother. She beat me, you know. She locked me in a closet for hours. But she was my mother, you know. I loved her. And one day, the neighbors called the police. She was arrested. And I started being passed from one place to another, like a package without an address." Lucas sat on the floor, away from Pedro, but close enough to hear. "The third family that took me in," Pedro continued, "they had a little girl. Very little. Like 6 years old. And I was very aggressive with her. I didn't want to hurt anyone, but I couldn't control my anger, you know. One day I pushed her. She fell. She hit her head. And they sent me back that day. They said I was dangerous, but they didn't want to see me anymore." Tears streamed down Pedro's face, but he furiously wiped them away, as if shame weighed even more than the pain itself. "You're not dangerous," Lucas said softly. "You're someone who wasn't taught how to deal with anger. It's different." "How do you know that?" Pedro asked. "Because," Lucas took a deep breath, "because I was aggressive when I got here too. I broke things. I yelled. Once, I even hit Aunt Marta, but she didn't send me back. She taught me to breathe, to count to 10, to talk about things." That night, Lucas asked Aunt Marta for permission to spend the night keeping vigil near Pedro. She hesitated, but agreed. The weeks that followed were different from the previous ones. Pedro wasn't like Mateus or Sofia. He wasn't just sad. He was furious. He was violent. He was self-sabotaging. There were nights when Lucas had to sedate his own panic while Pedro cursed and threw things. There were days when Pedro progressed and then suddenly had an explosive setback. There were times when Lucas wondered if Aunt Marta was right, if perhaps Pedro was a lost cause. But Lucas continued. He taught Pedro breathing techniques. They ran together in the yard when the anger got too intense.